Hello and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we will learn how we can add picture-in-picture mode to our Jetpack Compose application. We will add ExoPlayer to run a video, and upon going back to the home screen, it should automatically enter into the picture-in-picture mode. You must have seen this picture-in-picture mode in a lot of multimedia applications, especially apps like YouTube, Netflix, Amazon Prime, where, for example, if a video is running and you go back to the home screen, the video still keeps on running but on a very smaller screen. Okay, so we will try to achieve the same in this particular video. It's going to be a very quick video. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, and let's get straight into it. So what I have done here is that I've created a new project, and it is the sample project that automatically pops up. We will clean this. We will remove all these components. We don't require this greeting composable, and we'll go to the build gradles and add a couple of dependencies that is required for this particular project. So we're going to add these three dependencies: ExoPlayer, the Media3 UI, and Media3 session. Okay, let's sync this. Because we are going to use ExoPlayer, its UI and session, therefore we need to add these three dependencies. Okay, so once we have added these, let's go back to the main activity. And what we are going to do here is, first of all, we will create a video player, and that video player will take in a URL to stream. Basically, what we will do here is we will stream a video over the internet. Therefore, we need to provide a video URL, and that particular composable will take that video URL and just play it in the ExoPlayer. First of all, we will create that ExoPlayer video player. Okay, let's do that. So for that, what we will do here is we will simply create a composable called video player, which basically takes a video URL and after that we will need the context. So we will say local context.current, and then we will create the ExoPlayer object. So we will say remember, and just add the data inside this, what we want to remember. So we want to remember ExoPlayer dot builder. It requires the context build. Then what we'll do is we will apply a couple of things to this ExoPlayer that we have just created. So this will actually create an instance of the ExoPlayer. Now we want to add some properties to it. So what we will add is we will add set media item, and we will write media item from uri.parse, and we will provide the video URL. Okay. Next, we will say prepare, and then we will say play. So this is just an example just to demonstrate how you can actually achieve the picture-in-picture mode. You can use this particular concept in your own application where you are dealing with multimedia, or even without multimedia also this should work. Let's say your app just displays a text or something, and even when you go back to the home screen you want to display it in a smaller window, you can do that too. It is not restricted to a particular multimedia sort of application. Okay, you can do this in any type of application. Okay, so this is all it is required for the ExoPlayer part. What we are doing here is we are setting the media item basically. Okay, we need to add the media item, then we are preparing the player, and then we are playing the player. Now all these things are remembered and place it inside this particular variable. Now what we want to do here is we want to create a session. Okay, so for creating the session, what we will do here is we will write val session equals to media session. Make sure you are importing it from this media3.session dot builder, which takes in the context, the ExoPlayer, and build. Now why we require this session? First of all, so let's say you created the ExoPlayer, you don't write the session part. Even then also the picture-in-picture mode will work, but in that case, in that scenario, what will happen is, let's say in the picture-in-picture mode, you want to pause and play. In our case, since we are having a multimedia, we are having a video that is streaming, we even want to pause and play it in the smaller screen as well, right? So this session, when defined and when provided with the required player, it automatically provides us that, okay, out of the box. So when we say that the session has started for this particular video and then it moves to a picture-in-picture mode, it automatically adds those controls in the picture-in-picture mode itself. Okay, when you don't add session, that won't be appearing over there. Okay, so let's say we have added the session. As I said, we need to provide a player for this session. So we will say that session.player equals to ExoPlayer. Okay, so once we have added the session, we have provided the player to this session so that we get those media controls in the picture-in-picture mode as well. The next thing that we want to do here is we want to display the actual video, right? So over there we have just defined we have just configured the ExoPlayer, but right now we want to provide that ExoPlayer to an actual view. So for that, what we will do here is we will add Android view, which requires a factory, and inside this factory, what we will do, we will provide player view, which takes in context, and we will apply something, and we will apply a few things to this player view. Mainly one, actually. We will just provide the player for this player view, which is the ExoPlayer that we have configured at the top, and we will add a modifier as modifier fill max size. Let me quickly format this. Okay. Now you can do a lot of things to this particular application. You can have multiple, let's say, list of videos that you want to play. In that scenario, what you have to do is you have to even clear the resources that you are using. So you have to use the on disposable effect and release the ExoPlayer. But since we are just demonstrating a single video or just the concept of picture-in-picture mode, I'm skipping that part. But if you want, you can check out my video on how to stream a video over the internet. And in that particular video, I have provided all the code required for creating an app for streaming over the internet. Okay. So after this, the main part which actually triggers the picture-in-picture mode is something called on user leave event. Okay. So this is triggered as soon as we are leaving the application and we're going to the home screen. Okay, this particular method is triggered. So what we need to provide here is we need to say that when this happens, open up the picture-in-picture mode. So what we will do for that is we create a function called enter pip mode. Okay, and over here we will provide the required configuration for the picture-in-picture mode. Okay, so the first thing that we require here is the aspect ratio, the actual ratio in which you want to open up the smaller window. So we'll say rational, and we will provide the dimensions for it. So this basically means 16:9. You can have 1,1 also if you want to have a square, but since I want to have a rectangle, I'm giving it as 16:9. And then params, okay, and which will take basically picture-in-picture params dot builder, and we will provide the aspect ratio to this, and finally build. Okay. Now you can see it is throwing an error. It says that call requires API level 26 and current minimum is 24. So picture-in-picture mode was introduced in API level 26. So there are two ways you can handle this. Either you can add a check whether the application or whether the mobile device that is running this application is having a minimum of API level 26 or not, or you can increase the minimum SDK. Okay, you can do either of those things. So let me just simply increase the minimum SDK for this. Let me increase it to 26 and sync it. Basically it means that any device which is having Oreo and above will only be able to run this application. Okay, now you can see the errors are gone. And after this, we'll simply just call a function which is called enter picture in picture mode, and we will provide these params to it. And then we will call this particular method inside the on user leave event. So what will happen now here is that once we open the application, it will start running the video, and as soon as we trigger or we open or go back to the home screen, this will be triggered, which will eventually call this method. It will configure the parameters required for the picture-in-picture mode and enter the picture-in-picture mode with those parameters. Okay. Let us also add the composable over here, and we can add any video URL you want. I have a spare with me right now. I'm adding that. Yeah. So the last thing that is required after adding all these things is to configure the manifest file. You need to add a couple of things in the manifest file. The first things first is to provide the permission. We need to provide the internet permission since we are streaming the video over the internet. The next thing is we want to mark the activity as to be able to enter the picture-in-picture mode. So we'll say Android supports picture-in-picture mode. True. So basically this means that this activity will support the picture-in-picture mode. The next thing that we need to provide after the supports picture-in-picture mode is the configuration changes. So what this basically means is that whatever the flags that we will provide, if that configuration is getting changed, the activity will still keep on running. So for example, if we are changing the screen size, if we are changing the orientation, let's say if we are changing the screen layout, like any of those things, if we are changing on a running activity, instead of killing the activity, it will still keep on running. Okay, so that is what we want actually, since we want the video player to still keep on running even when the configuration is being changed. So we need to provide a couple of flags for this. So we need to provide screen size, then smaller screen size, screen layout, and orientation. Okay. So once we've added all these things, let us run the application and check if it is working fine or not. So as you can see, the video is running. This is the link for the video that we have provided, and you can see it is buffering. And once it is buffered, it will keep on running. And let's say it is running and we go back to the home screen, it should open up the picture-in-picture mode. And we can see we are getting these controls also over here to pause and play the video. This won't be visible if we don't provide the session. And if you click on this particular option, it will open up the app in the entire screen. Okay. So that's pretty much it for this particular video. This was a very quick video. You can do a lot of things actually with this picture-in-picture mode. You can even provide the part of the application which you want to show in the picture-in-picture mode instead of showing the entire application. So there are a lot of things you can play with. I will provide the link for the documentation on this in the description, as well as the GitHub link for this particular project. Do feel to check that out. And if you like this video, do like the video and share the video with your friends, and please subscribe to the channel if you stay till the end. And I will see you in the next one.